Welcome, everybody. This is Roy Bhandari of TalkCondo.com and Amit Bhandari. And today we're joined by Vince Santino, the Senior VP of Development at Aoyuan Developments. Vince, thank you very, very much for your time to chat with us today in these unusual times.
Oh, thank you, Roy and Amit. Good seeing you guys.
Awesome.
Same.
So we're going to be talking, obviously, about M2M and the new release, and you guys have a lot of exciting things going on up there. But a couple of things I wanted to talk on before we go there is number one, obviously we're doing this call over Zoom because of the environment that we're in and the unprecedented times that we're seeing. With COVID-19 and what we're seeing on the market, we're tracking it very, very closely. We're seeing a few interesting things, and I would love to hear about it on your end. The first thing is that we're a couple months into this thing right now. Number one is that the prices, especially on the resale side, have remained pretty sticky. We haven't seen a decrease, which I think is great for our marketplace. So, is there anything you wanted to add on there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think there's still a lot of capital in the market. As we know, interest rates are probably the lowest that they've ever been. For anybody, coming overseas or overseas buyers, the dollar certainly has, impact on that as well. And I also just think, the way, all levels of government here in Canada have dealt with the pandemic, I think have really shown the rest of the world that, as a country, and particularly if they're looking at a city to invest in or to buy real estate in, Toronto, very stable, very well predisposed. And so I think all those factors right now are helping the situation, and for all of us, we be respectful and try to make sure that we get through this on the other side the right way. And to now, as you noted, things have been very positive, and I'm generally a positive guy, Roy, and I think we've got a great building industry here in Toronto. I think they've shown their colors the last little while, and we're hoping to continue for sure.
I'm glad you brought that up, Canada's response, because I think it has been very, very, very good on a global scale. And I think one of the drivers of our market has always been immigration. A lot of the experts that I'm speaking to do believe that this will result in an increased amount of demand to live in Canada and the GTA in Toronto. So I think that's really interesting. And I think that the medium to long-term health of our marketplace is as strong as it's ever been. And I think it's something, as a marketplace, I think we have a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, no, totally.
So I think so you with Aoyuan Developments now. Aoyuan Developments are probably one of the largest builders on the planet, and I'm really happy that we have you on, because I think you're really unique in a way that you can say within the company you have sites in different countries. You have sites in Canada, you have sites in Toronto, all over the place. So how do you guys see Toronto as compared to other global cities in the world? I'd love to hear that from your angle.
Yeah, no, great question, Roy. I mean, I think for us, Aoyuan has always seen Toronto as, an international city, very much. Great, stable real estate market to start. Certainly that's our core business. But it's the country's financial capital. It's very much in a lot of ways the cultural capital as well. You hit on the point of immigration, and of the 300,000+ that come over to Canada annually, they're a good percentage coming into Toronto, which I think just strengthens the fabric of the city. And it isn't the same city it was perhaps 25 years ago. I think if you've all lived in and around Toronto now, you've seen so many different parts of the city developing with their own unique characteristics, whether it's, Gore West Village or King West. You're starting to see a lot of those sort of really mature and provide a lot of the amenities and the things people like to have when they're living their life on a daily basis. So very bullish on Toronto. just see the trajectory continue to be positive. And again, I mean, you touched on the price, the point about prices being sticky right now. I think that's a testament to the city itself. And the industry and our buyer base. Our clients are very intelligent. They know what they want. I think as an industry, we respond very well to those needs and how we design our spaces and how we design our amenities. And I think that just continues to add to what Toronto sort of brings to the table for anybody looking to come to the city to invest, or for local buyers as well. They can remain confident that their investment will go the right way. By being here in the GTA.
Sure. There was a couple of things you said there that I wanted to unpack a little bit. Number one, you said that it's a different city than it was 25 years ago. I think it's a different city than it was 5 years ago. Like the pace of change in Toronto is insane. Every year, we see new pockets. We're going to obviously talk about M2M, but these kinds of pockets and things that you guys are doing now are changing sort of the landscape and everything so fast. It's happening at such a pace. And I think the other thing that you said is you talked about how as a company, Aoyuan do amenities and spaces. I know one of the areas that you guys focus on a lot is health and wellness. And again, looking at what's going on out there, these kinds of spaces and focus are probably more important now than ever before. So I think there are a couple of things that jumped out to me.
Yeah. So in the context of M2M, if we go directly to the community that we're involved with here as our first in Toronto, 8.6 acres of master plan community in the heart of North York, a minute and a half to the subway terminal line at Yonge and Finch, where you've got access to GO buses, TTC buses, and the train itself, the subway. If you're not walking, you've got the option also to get in your car, and you're within 10 minutes of any highway in the city as well. The amenities that are part of this community that we're bringing forward, the 80,000 plus square feet of retail at grade, 100,000 square feet of office housing the podiums, the future park on the east side of the community, and starting to know it very well, Roy. We're looking forward to bringing that forward. Yep. A community center and a daycare, and really anybody who is looking to invest or live in a community where everything is going to be at their feet. I think we're very well predisposed. We feel very fortunate to be in the 416, especially, and to be able to offer such a great community to our buyers. I think we're really, really excited.
I think one other thing to touch on as well, just very quickly, we talked about prices being sticky, especially in that Yonge and Common neighborhood. So just to, I guess, give some perspective as to where this project is. Actually, it's in the southeast corner of Yonge and Common, where the Newtonbrook Plaza used to be. That entire 8.6 acres worth of land, and the two portions, I guess, of the site is the facing Yonge portion, which is going to be the residential portion, and I guess the back portion, which is going to be the bar. But there's a brand new public road that you're constructing as well, that will cut between the two. The other nice thing is a nice break between the development itself and the low rise. So what I wanted to talk about as well, we talked about prices being sticky. I did a quick check in terms of an entry point into the neighborhood. You're talking 1.something million for something that needs easily 200,000 to 300,000 work to get it livable. So the entry point into the neighborhood is quite substantial as well.
And that's when a condo development like this becomes so much in demand, when there's such a demand to live in the area, and there is that gap between the low rise and the high rise, and that's where this product fits so well nicely into the neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that's right, guys. I mean, and I'm glad you touched on it, Amit, in terms of getting into the neighborhood. I mean, traditionally, an upper middle class or middle class neighborhood, a lot of wartime bungalows, scattered throughout, and you're starting to see a lot of gentrification. So to your point, purchasing one of those, and even a townhome, trying to get into the market in North York right now at grade in terms of single family or traditional tract housing, as we like to refer to it, very, very difficult proposition. And I think that's where we come in and offer that option. Hey, I mean, you get a lot of amenities that I mentioned earlier at your feet. But I think the other important thing to note here is, we're not in the downtown core. That gives us some advantages. We have a little bit more space in these suite layouts, and throughout the entire design process, we've listened to our buyers. We listen to what our purchasers want. They want function. They want value for their dollar. And I think being able to offer that bigger space with all the amenities at their feet. Not to speak of even the building amenities, I think it's a great option for anybody looking to get in the market. And our buyer base it's been pretty consistent. A lot of people that have grown up in the area, in the North York area, wanting to stay in the North York area, or even downsizers wanting to get maybe perhaps a smaller suite in one of our towers, looking to come back. A lot of people from Thornhill, from Markham, from Richmond Hill, in and around that area, wanting to come back to North York because of them growing up and knowing what the community itself and the address offers. So we're really excited to be able to add to that and give people that option and that choice.
One of the things that we've noticed, and tell me if you've seen the same thing from our own client base, is that we're finding a lot of end users in this building. So I'm not sure if that's representative of the entire building, but again, that speaks to a specific kind of building, right? The end user buildings that are people want to move into, it's very different from your typical investor building. Those are the kinds of buildings that do hold their value so well, because it is attracting that person that does want to live in the building. So is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, no, that's you hit on it perfectly, Roy. We've had a lot of end users, actually. I'd say up to 70% of our buyers have been end users. A lot of them, like I said, very from the area locally, or very, very close to the area. And I think again, touching on the amenities that we offer inside the building as well. That it's sort of it's making our vision and the way we had M2M in our minds when we first came to market back in 2018 come to fruition. Very much it's a community where a family can buy a larger unit. We've got the 2 bed plus dens and 3-bedroom units in the towers. Some exciting stuff coming in the new release. I know you're going to be asking me about that.
Yeah.
Larger suites. We've also got smaller suites that we sold in our first early phases. So really, it runs the gamut in terms of family to maybe smaller family or even singles. So all of those elements, I think, make it very unique to be able to have that offering that caters to a wide range of people, and certainly bringing in the end users. From what we know now, anyway, into the community, and I think you do. I think it becomes a stronger community, a stronger development when you have a lot more end users. So yeah, no, we're very, very happy about that and the results so far.
Amazing. We are going to talk about the new release and what but one of the things I do want to touch on very quickly is the importance of master plan communities. We've been selling condos for the last decade. And we find that for investors, time and time again, is that when they're able to invest early into a master plan community as opposed to a single tower, the return on those investments tends to be very, very strong, because you're buying in at phase 1, but as the second, third, fourth, fifth building comes along, you're getting, each time it gets better and better and better. Prices keep increasing. So that's number 1. And then the number 2 part of that is that it does take a very special developer to be able to pull off a master plan community. Bringing in all these elements, the residential, the commercial, the retail, the community center, the daycare, a lot of developers aren't just not able to put it all together. So I think there's
one other point as well is most developers aren't also ready to give up half of the land towards public space, which is a huge deal in this case.
So I think there's a couple of points there. I think as an investor, getting in early on a master plan, and again, the development team that is able to pull this off. So I'm not sure if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, certainly. And one thing you touched on there, Roy, is the development team. In every geography that we operate, it's at the insistence of our chairman that the team that's built in that geography is a team that knows that geography and knows the area.
Yes, right.
He's a very, very intelligent, generous individual who knows real estate. That's what he does, but realizes that, perhaps, some of the things you do in Sydney, you can't necessarily do in Toronto, where things are done differently. So that's where, building a team with local talent, comes in, as paramount to be able to deliver any size project. And for us, as big as M2M is, and it's 1.8 million square feet in total across all three phases, that's almost just hitting average compared to what we do overseas many times. So, bringing that master plan community and living the mantra of building a healthy lifestyle, it goes sort of hand in hand with the Aoyuan approach. No, we're really, really excited that we've had this opportunity land on us here in North York. And as you mentioned, Amit, it's very rare to see a park, very rare to see a community center and a daycare center all in one community. And as I said earlier, there's an offering here that I think a lot of end users are very attracted to, and it's certainly an advantage for us. And if we've seen what's happened, from the Yonge and Eglinton, Midtown all the way up, this really bookends the center of North York very, very well. And I haven't even spoken about, all the existing restaurants and shops, and really hoping that everything gets back to normal so our clients can enjoy all of those offerings, because up and down Yonge Street along North York, some really great restaurants, entertainment, shops, and miscellaneous I think we're coming in and complementing with in terms of the offering that M2M itself is bringing.
Amazing. So let's shift gears and talk about the project specifically. First of all, I think with you guys being under construction, with everything going on, obviously there was some projects that were put on hold because of the ruling. So give us an update on where you guys are at with that.
Yeah, so as you gentlemen know, we started construction back in September of 2019. We broke ground and started with excavation and shoring. That continued on very well through the fall and into the winter, and then hit a bit of a pause. Obviously, we were very, very respectful of the Premier and the direction given from the province with respect to COVID-19 in terms of non-essential versus essential. And so, we got to pretty much P3 of our parking garage in terms of excavation, and then began to secure the site and shut it down per the orders. But fortunately, that order was lifted just very recently. So no sooner did we get the site secured and ready to be safe going forward than the order got lifted. So I feel very, very fortunate. We feel very, very fortunate that there was a bit of a pause. It wasn't a complete and total stop. So, we're very lucky, and our forces are back at work on site. Obviously, mining all the parameters that the province has laid out, making sure that we're being careful, that anybody on site is mining, the distancing rules, and all the other provisions that the province has laid out. We want to do things safely, just like everyone else. Certainly do not want to push the envelope in that respect. We want everybody to get back and be healthy. And our guys on site and our constructor have done a tremendous job. Just making sure that they're following the ministry requirements. And the ministry is going out to all sites across the city right now, making sure and ensuring that whoever is active is actually following those guidelines. So we feel very fortunate. We don't seem to have lost a lot of time, and really looking forward to continuing on and getting through the next couple of releases here.
Amazing. That's great to hear. So this is a new release. We've seen 2 buildings released very, very, very well received. The
Mhm.
North Tower, the South Tower. Talk us through quickly the sales success of those, and then let's talk about the new release.
Sure. To date, as you both are well aware, I mean, sales have been great since we launched back in June of 2018. The reception's been fantastic. We're about 80% sold out,
Amazing.
which in and of itself presents, a real advantage to us, along with what I just touched on in terms of construction. So people can feel confident about investing and buying or looking for, their home here at M2M. I think they can feel confident about coming in and purchasing a unit if that's their desire. We're going to continue to go, and things have been very positive. At 80% sold, and still an opportunity to be one of the first. I think you touched on it early, to be
Yep.
in there early on a master plan community, and it is still early if they want to get on this next release. But with the release itself, and you'll be receiving some information in the next few weeks, gentlemen. We're looking at getting out there in early June, first or second week of June, in and around that time frame. Something exciting this time around that perhaps everybody else hasn't seen yet. We've got some townhomes we're offering, and Amit, you mentioned it earlier, on the east side of that first phase, facing that future beautiful park. We're going to have 25 townhomes in this release, 2-story towns. Each level of those towns has its own value proposition. We have some with rooftop patios. We have some where the patio spills out into our beautiful courtyard, and you're well aware of that, inside the center of the podium. And then, the value proposition of our townhomes at the base of the podium, where you can have direct access from the public road and the sidewalk, but all facing that future public park. So we're really excited about those. I think we've done a really good job with our suite layouts in our tower units. So we've got a little bit more room in these townhomes, which range from 1,060 square feet all the way just over 1,350 square feet. So we got a little bit more space. They're 2-story, and I think everyone's going to be really, really pleased. And I'll tell you what, the interest has been tremendous. We've been fielding calls on these, as we touched on earlier, tough to get into a ground-related townhome unit anywhere else in North York. These are as close as a ground-related unit as you're going to get with all the other amenities that we're bringing forward. So, in addition to the townhomes, we've got some Sky Collection units, lower penthouse units, ranging from 700 square feet to 1,210 square feet. We've always had a ton of interest in those because we purposely held a few back. So now we're bringing some more on in the next little while, and yourselves, along with your great clients, very familiar with the layouts on those. Not too much tweak. So with all the success that we've had with them, listening to our buyers before we actually design them all, I think those are all going to be well received. And we still have a few great podium units left as well. They've been very, very popular for those opting as end users or investors, maybe not wanting that tower unit and wanting to be closer to grade. I think that's a great option. So very, very fortunate to have the mix that we do, and to be able to bring it forward again in this next release. So we're really excited to seeing everybody very soon here, and continuing on with the success. And like I said, we're 80% sold out. I'm hoping we get to 100% very, very soon, and get this first phase out there, so our buyers can enjoy.
Amazing. So just to wrap up everything we talked about, we talked about COVID-19 and how it's had an impact on the Toronto market and the prices remaining so sticky. We talked about Aoyuan, one of the largest builders on the planet, with history of doing large-scale developments, not just in Toronto, but across Canada and across the world. We talked about master plan communities and the importance of getting in early into a multifaceted, multi-phased development with residential and commercial and retail and a park. We talked about this location, which is steps to a subway. We talked about having everything at your doorstep, from restaurants to grocery. We talked about this project specifically with, again, amazing suite designs and demand that's attracted a lot of end use, which is again very, very important. And then we've got this exciting new release. We're under construction. We're 80% sold. townhouses facing the park, penthouses. So there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of really great stuff. So if clients are interested, what do they have to do?
Well, I think the first thing they do is to go to one of you two gentlemen to make sure that they get on there early and you can guide them through the process. Fortunately for us in this age, we've got technology to help us out. So we certainly don't want anything else to give us any impediments. But get in there early, make sure they contact you. You'll be receiving the packages very shortly, so you'll be able to see the pricing, suite layouts, and again, you know, you can point them to all the great amenities and all the great features and everything M2M has to offer. I think they're going to be very, very happy.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vince. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you both. Great seeing you guys again. Hi to everyone, and just everybody, please stay safe, and hope to see everybody on the other side very shortly.
Thank you very much, Vince.
Thank you.
Thank you.